Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Martin Luther King Day. First coffee of the day. So, but it's in my Sasquatch mug. So all is good. The world is good. I kind of planned this early this morning when I was babysitting my grandson. So I put it in, but I had a couple of items to do with the charcuterie board in the wood shop. A couple of them were going to be questionable. And that's why I ran it at 1, because what I was going to do in the wood shop to the charcuterie board could have ruined it, and it would have been useless to have. Oh, hey, Coach. I just got up, babysat last night, got home about 10, took a quick nap because I was up all night. Went out, had to work in the shop for about an hour, and then come here. So that's my first, but I will get to 3 rather quickly. Thank you for taking the time. I know you were busy watching other people. I appreciate you taking the time for that. And also thank you to everybody that, I know everybody is really, in this community, is really pushing other people's playlists now and helping. I know Fairbricks Studios does, and I know Coach Juliet, you're doing a few now. And then I know I put the 4 up there last night, the ones that do all the food reviews. So that's really cool. Hey, Tiffany, hey, Brian. I don't know if Brian's home with you or not today. So a couple jokes just to get us started. Almost ready. Hopefully everybody will show up. If not, I'm just going to continue because I got a lot of stuff to show you guys. Oh, he's working. Okay. So I wasn't feeling good the other day. Went to the pharmacy. It searched forever. But I finally looked down and I saw the eye drops I needed. Boy, what a sight for sore eyes. So I come home the other day and my wife yells at me that I have no sense of direction. So I got mad. I yelled back. I packed my bags and I write. Here's a good joke to start with. Because I was doing woodworking in the shop a few minutes ago, I figured I'd start with a construction joke. Now, I'll tell you the construction joke tomorrow because I'm still working on it. That's enough of that nonsense. So anybody that saw me the other day in the shop tearing apart that old ironing board. It was a step stool ironing board combo. And then you saw me pull off all of the cloth and all of that edging, that lace edging. Had to remove the dowel pins, unscrew it from the thing, and hope I didn't break it. The wood is very dry. It's probably 50 years old. And it is very dry. If you're working with super dry wood that's been housed somewhere inside, outside the elements, in a dry area of a house for years, the wood just dries out. So I'm going to show you a little sneak peek. Uh-oh, what is that? Oh no, what is that? Is that an ironing board or is it a charcuterie? Well, we have these little ramekins, or they're also measuring cups. They do quarter, half, and 3/4 and full cup. But you also, they're microwavable safe. I've put pudding in these, we put Jell-O, we put condiments, olives, pickles, things like that, and set them around the table. And that's what gave me the idea to use this ironing board as a charcuterie board. Now, charcuterie boards a lot of times are these long flat pieces of wood, but they a lot of times they don't have somewhere to set the condiments. Some do, some don't. I wanted a spot that I could put olives, we could put dill pickles, we could put the mini sausages, we could put blue cheese or ranch or queso, whatever. And then have a place where they set, where they're stable with the charcuterie board. So, let me show you what I got. If you can see this. So here it is. So this is 44 inches long. This pine is, it's probably at least 50 years old. It is about 3/4 of an inch thick. I've planed both sides. I have routed the edge, and I'm going to show you in a second. But in the meantime, there's my 4 holes. So, when this is sitting there, my ramekins can sit right inside. I can put my yellow cheap ones in here if I want. Like that. And then all of the meats and the cheeses can be spread out along this board. This board is 44 inches long. So it'll fit a lot of food. Now, the bowls do fit down and they do poke through the bottom because it goes through, and I already knew that, but you need to have a hole big enough that it sets in there stable. I have thick rubber feet that stick to the bottom of this. So those will be off the ground about a 1/2 inch. So it'll sit on a table and it'll be a little about a 1/2 inch higher than the table. But let me get you a wider shot. So that is the charcuterie board. I just finished sanding it. I finished cutting the holes in it a little while ago. What you have to worry about, the reason I was going to show that on the live in the shop. But anytime you're routing a piece of wood, I used a round over bit. Anytime you use a high-speed wood tool, number one, wood chips and dust fly everywhere. So I don't think the video quality would have been good. It gets all over the place. And I also used the Forstner bit. I used a 3-inch Forstner bit for the hole. And you got to be careful. My fear was it was such a large drill, so much surface area, it was going to tear the wood. But I went slow, and it was nice and sharp. They were fairly new blades, and it cut through this wood very nicely. I didn't have any shattering of the wood, no cracking. That's what I was concerned about. But it was all successful. I didn't want to do it on camera because I didn't want the thing to explode and just ruin the whole project. It just would have ruined my day, and it would have ruined the live, and that's not what I'm about. But let's see. But anyways, it's 44 inches long. And what I did, I don't think you can see the edge that well, but I roughed up the edge. I'm gonna turn it this way and you'll see, you get one of the better edges here. Yeah. So I took a couple big routers to it, and you'll see it's wavy here. So when I hit it with the router, I roughed it. I wanted sections that were not square and smooth because I didn't want it to look like a perfect plank. I wanted it to look like a piece of driftwood you found on the beach and did work on it. So, what I'm going to do, thank you. I'm going to put it over here on this thing on my bench over here. And while I'm talking to you guys, I hope somebody can maybe do some moderating. Somebody just came in about asking questions about something I'm not getting involved in. So if anybody can moderate for me, I'm not gonna be able to see the screen. I have my brush. We're gonna clear coat this right now live. So, got my brush, and I use this product. It's fast drying oil-based urethane gloss. This is the stuff I use on, if I want it gloss, I use this on my furniture. It's a great product. 2 or 3 coats, it looks like glass, and it draws the grain out. So let me do this. I have opened the can. Let me see if I can get this turned down enough and get this in here so you guys can hopefully see. You see if this will help if I turn my ring light here. Okay, so you can see this is my table. So this is made out of reclaimed, this is weathered reclaimed pallet wood. I made this about 3 years ago, and I love this thing. We've used it as an entry table. I now use it for in the live stream room. But here we go. Let me get the clear coat. So with clear coat, I always start with the edge because I don't want to be having to try to coat the edge after doing the top. But I like the, for the first coat of the clear, I like to use these foam brushes. And then I'm just going to work my way around, and what you're going to see is how it brings the grain out. Now I typically, this will get 2 or 3 coats depending on how it's super dry wood. It's probably going to end up taking 3 because what happens with super dry wood is it absorbs like a wick. The first coat will go in, and sometimes you'll hardly even know you coated it. It'll do just enough to coat the outside and seal it. The other thing I do is, if this is an inside product, I'll do 1 coat on the bottom later. I only do 1 coat on the bottom because you're just trying to seal it from moisture. And by moisture, I mean humidity. And you're going to be rinsing it off and washing it with a damp cloth too. So you know you don't want, but you can see the darkness, see the color. A knot popped out. That's why I had to be super careful. But look at that color. End grain usually gives it, because it's the end grain and it runs differently than with the grain, so it usually does go a little bit darker. But yeah, so that's the end grain so far. Hope that's coming through good on the video. And then let me just do this other end real quick. You can see it's absorbed already. It's not as shiny as it dries. I just really enjoy this clear coat. It does such a good job. Water base for me just doesn't do the trick. Look at that. Okay. So hopefully that'll come through. So there's the grain. Now, here we go. Now, I'm going to lay it on pretty heavy, and then I'll show you what I do next. want to get some on here so you can see what I'm talking about. Let me move this. And when I say clear coat brings out the grain, that's what I'm talking about. Look at that. I hope that comes through. Okay, let's go back to this side now. We'll start from this end and work our way back. I lay it on, but you gotta go with the grain when you get ready to do your final application as you're using the brush or the sponge. Make sure you go with the grain. Long strokes like that, because you don't want it to build up and pool on the surface. Just like that. I'm just doing inside the hole a little bit because that's going to get done multiple times. After this coat and it dries, tomorrow I will flip it, do the one coat on the underside, and then dry, flip, and then do 2 more coats on this side. So I won't have it done for tomorrow's live stream in the garden, but I will have it ready after that, and I will do a reveal, and then eventually when we do use it as the board, as a charcuterie board live, I will show a picture. So hopefully you guys are starting to see. So the outer part of the tree, that was the outer part of the board, is white, and as I'm continuing on, you can see the center has more of a red finish. But you can see I'm not just pushing it all over. I'm just long brush strokes like that. Nice and long. Stretch it right out like that. Because if you leave this stuff on, it is thicker, so it does tend to bubble if you're not careful. Now tomorrow, this will be dry. This dries in a few hours typically. And then tomorrow what I'll do is I'll take some either 800 grit sandpaper, or I'll take some steel wool and just lightly go over the top. And what that will do is any sand, any wood pieces from when I sanded it, any of the sand from the sandpaper that's on the board that I didn't get cleaned off perfectly. I cleaned the board, but you know, you're not always perfect. This will go back through with some sandpaper, and you'll get rid of all that the rough spots, and then it will just be smooth as glass. Then you put your second coat on. If you do a third coat, same thing. Very lightly. I don't mean push your weight into it. You just lightly draw it across the board, very carefully. So I'm glad I was able to do this on a live, because I wanted everybody to see reclaimed wood. That's why I use reclaimed wood, because number one, keeps it out of a landfill, keeps it out of a fire pit. Number two, look at that. I mean, look at this red strip here. It's got a knot here, a knot started there. It's got a knot down here. It has the cracks from aging. I mean, that is beautiful. Let me switch this over here real quick. You're gonna hear some tapping. I'm gonna tap the top on. And just like that, I hope everybody found that to be pretty cool. And so there it is. Look at that. Now, that'll get a couple more coats. And now this will go on a table. And in goes our dishes for condiments. I'm not sure if Dave Collier is here or what's his name, Brian from Hands That Work, but they do a lot of woodworking. Dave does a lot of spoon and fork making, and he's always, you know, carving and stuff. So I'm hoping he shows up and eventually sees that, because I know he would appreciate that old board being used like that. And we're having a party here at the house maybe in March with my son, his friend from work, and some of our family. So I will do a quick video then and display it then. Janet, that's what it's for, the holes. The holes will be for condiments, for olives, or the mini sausages, or dill pickles, or relish, salsa, queso. I have five or six of these, and I'm really thinking about seeing if I can get a couple wooden bowls, a couple wooden tapered ramekins that I could sand down and clear coat and put in those instead. I think that would look pretty cool to have more old wooden bowls in there. But yeah, so this cost me $0, and that's why keep your eyes open for stuff, especially if you're doing a woodworking channel or homesteading channel. I said the other day, I went by a house, and in their front yard, by their garbage, because it was bulk pickup, they had a 12-foot piece of baseboard they were going to throw out. I asked the owner, why are you throwing this out? And he goes, I did the baseboard in the house. I can't return it now. I'm not going to store it in my garage. It just gets in the way. Well, a 12-foot piece of that is $17, $20, $22 or something. I put it in my car. I popped the trunk. I have the seat that pops down, and I slid it all the way through to the front window. I had about 4 foot sticking out the back. I only had to drive 2 miles, and I drove home with that. It's in my shop now. Because when I do a room, again, I will just get that same profile, and all I need to buy 1 or 2 pieces instead of 3 or 4 pieces. I have a piece already, or I'll use it for a project. So, you know, and look around. When you have bulk pickups at your town, drive around. People put it out there, it's gonna go in the trash. If you guys have seen in my potato videos, I had a wicker basket. That wicker basket's like brand new. It's a laundry basket. It was right next door to my house. The people next door cleaned out for the bulk pickup. They put it out by their garbage. I drove by, I saw it, I got out, walked over. There was absolutely nothing wrong with it. They told me they just didn't want it. They didn't feel like putting it on Facebook Marketplace. So I'm like, well, I'll save you the trouble. I'm taking it now. And they're like, take anything else you want. Yes, coach, wooden ramekins, yes. We don't entertain a lot. When we do, it's mainly just family, and then we do my grandson's birthday here, because they get like 20 or 30 people, and we have the big porch, the larger yard, and we have the walk-in, the living room, dining room, kitchen is all open concept, where my son and daughter-in-law's house, it's an older home, so the rooms are closed off. so it just doesn't flow as well with people. So we just have it here every year. So I'll have it out for that. And I will say, 4 people in the beginning when I first started my YouTube channel, I was given the advice by somebody that has done it, and they said find 4 people that have no connections to you on YouTube. It's okay if they're on Facebook, but use a different, if they have some people to use a different name or whatever. So I had 4 people that over a couple-day period subbed my channel. So they were in the first 10 or 15 subs of my channel. And then they went and watched my videos, commented, liked, things like that to help get me out there. And I never told them this, but in the back of my mind, because that was back last February, 2025. And I had in the back of my mind, eventually, if I am successful at getting monetized, we're gonna have a party here at the house. So the original 4 people, because they're close to me in proximity, so we're gonna do just a monetization party here so I can just thank them for help getting me kicked off and started. So they were nice enough to do that for me. Nobody else in my family knows, none of my friends know. It's literally, it was all organic. Other than those 4, I don't know, I've never met anybody on here, so on and so forth. So we're gonna use it there. And I'm hoping that's gonna be March, April, because then it starts to get warm down here. And then we can be outside playing horseshoes or cornhole, or who knows, maybe I'll have a weeding party where everybody can come and just go down a row and weed for me. And then, we'll give them some, light beer or something if they want. But anyways, we entertain maybe 3 or 4 times a year. But I just wanted that because I can hang it on a wall. It doesn't take up any room. I can leave it on a wall. It'll look nice on the wall. It'll look like a piece of art. And then when I need it, I just grab it and go. If I want to take it to somebody else's house, it takes up hardly any room in a car. Just put it up in the back window. So it conks you in the back of the head when you have to hit your brakes. But other than that, you can see it's starting to dry. And already the shine is going off it, but it is darkening. See the dark? To me, that's just beautiful. I mean, that's what I like about wood, because it's never the same. The grain is different. You get knots, hardwood, softwood. They all react different. Red cedar, cherry. You get some red oak, has some really nice stuff in it. You get some walnut or sycamore. It is just really nice wood. Hey, Missy Cooking on a Budget. I just finished clear coating. I don't know if you saw it, I don't know how long you've been here, but I just finished clear coating, Missy, the charcuterie board. So it's got 1 coat on it. And then I got my dishes that'll sit down in the holes. That's gonna be cool. Now, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, if you guys still follow and subscribe and wanna watch, I talked about working in the garden, cooking, when I started harvesting, to start cooking in the garden. So if I had cucumbers and salad items, during the live, I'd be picking stuff, harvesting, talking, come over. I would have utensils and a bench, or a bench, but a work table. So I have some lumber out here I can't really use for anything else. I'm gonna make a big cook top that I can work at just outside the garden. And then I'll have a bucket out there somehow, like a water basin, and then I'll have a small camp stove, maybe a Coleman camp stove or something. And I'll be able to cook and do a live stream harvesting, cooking fresh from the garden. So I have some lumber I gotta choose out here in my wood shop. that I can't really use for anything else, but it will work outside. So I'm gonna try to build some kind of an L-shaped bench that'll be set in the ground on the outside of the garden. And then I can use it for tools if I'm working in the garden, or when I get ready to cook. I can set my cameras up and I can do an hour live where I'm picking fresh vegetables. If I have meat, I'll have to prepare that inside, or I can prepare it out on the stove. But I'll be able to make fresh food from the garden right there live. I think that would be really cool. Oh, hey, Shelly. Todd's here. Hey, Chris. Chris is here. How you doing, Chris? Oh, Create and Relate is here. So Create and Relate is doing well with her subscriptions. She hit over 50, so hopefully she's gonna go live. Does anybody here, while we're here and everybody's kind of reading each other's stuff? Oh, Chris, I know, that's great. Congratulations, Chris, on getting that job. I'm happy for you, I really am. Create and Relate. You have over 700. Okay, so you have over 700 hours? Because if you have 60 some, okay, I thought you only had, the one day you only had 50. You got that many? That's cool. If you grew that fast, more power to you. If anybody needs watch hours, feel free to drop it here. I won't be able to, I don't have a utensil with me right now, but if you want to drop it in the comment below, I will watch your content to help support your hours. If you need subscribers, I'll put you on my shout out list, which I got to get another one going for this week. So I know that Poetic Tears, I think she was just waiting for her hours to tally. Chris, at one point, I think Chris was close. Is that true, Chris? I think Chris was close on hours, but I know today it was Calf's Kitchen is really close. But anybody else you know that is close, if you can put it in the comment below, I would love to go ahead and add it. Okay. Oh, you have almost 6,000 watch hours. Okay. Well, that's cool. Okay, I thought you were further away from being monetized. Good for you. I'm glad you got 6,000 watch hours. That's perfect. How about sending about 300 my way? But yeah, feel free to drop that stuff in here. Tomorrow we're going to do the live in the garden. You're still not monetized. Okay. That's odd, very, very odd. I wonder why. But Strings and Pucks, you will get there quicker than you know. Oh, thank you very much, Coach. Yeah, Coach, that's what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm starting her stuff tomorrow. I'm doing a shout out here shortly on Calf's Kitchen. So tomorrow is going to be setting up where I'm planting my potatoes, showing the no-till garden, and then going over my potato tower, and then maybe coming in and putting a second coat on top of this thing here. We can take a peek at it and see how it's looking, and then just discuss some stuff. Broke but Bountifully Blessed has almost 1,300 watch hours. Cool. Let's try to help her out. You have 1.6 million views and 22,050 subs. Thank you, Natty. Yeah, I just need a couple hundred more to put me over the over the limit, and then I'll be fully monetized. So anybody can help me, believe me, I appreciate it. I really do. That's what I'm working towards. But tomorrow's live is going to be about that. I do have a live showing a step-by-step of the potato tower. I have a premiere coming out next Sunday on another recipe, and I have a second recipe I'm working on that's going to come out the following week, and I have another one that's going to be done this week for the next week. So I'm trying to keep Sunday set up for food premieres. That way I don't do an impromptu one and somebody has to go back and watch it later. It'll be premieres, so it'll be announced, and hopefully if they want to come see it, they can. I appreciate everybody that went last night, because it was Chris, yes, you need 4,000 hours watch time and 1,000 for full monetization. So I have I'm 300 to 400 short on hours, but I have almost 1,120 subscribers, something like that. Thank you, Coach. Yeah, Fairbricks he's very good at posting for people, getting their name out there. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Natty. I appreciate it. And I do have another playlist now that I put, because I was reading to put I have a playlist that I consider my most successful videos, and I don't always mean views. Views are just one part of it. I look at average watch time, watch hours, things like that, because everybody knows some of your videos shoot up in the first 4 hours and then they just flatline because they hit a wall, nobody else is really watching it, and so YouTube just stops putting it out, or just stops pushing it. So I choose the ones that have that. They keep going and going, they keep going over the last month. So their average view is if it's a 10-minute video, if they get 4 to 6 minutes, if the CTR is 5, 6, 7%, decent views, those are the ones I put in that. So there's like 6 or 7 that I consider my most successful videos. And like I said, not just views, successful on all the analytics in a playlist. And it just says my favorites or my best videos that whatever. That I just moved them into a new playlist. And I've been cleaning up my playlists, because some had, when I first started, one has like 75 videos, others have 20. So I'm trying to get them leveled out. So there's about 20 in each one, so people don't go, I'm not gonna watch this, he's got 700 videos in a playlist. So, and then my YouTube shorts, I keep in my YouTube short video, because YouTube short hours don't count towards hours. So if somebody wants to go watch that, they're welcome to go watch my shorts. They're 30 seconds a piece. They get views and stuff, so it goes towards analytics, but it does not help on hours. But I appreciate everybody here saying they're gonna run my stuff. I really do appreciate it. Yes, create and relate. They will start to, the more people you get, the more stuff takes off. So. Thank you very much, Broke but Bountifully Blessed, Carol. Go check out Carol. Carol, why don't you have? Chris, I don't know why I didn't give you a wrench. I thought I gave you one a long time ago. Chris has a wrench. Where'd Carol? There she is. I apologize, Carol. I thought I gave you one the other day. There. Now you have one. Yeah, shorts just keep replaying. Foraging. I do shorts. I did some research. They did change some of the shorts stuff in January 10th, I think it was. They changed some of the stuff, and I noticed some janky stuff going on with shorts. So that's when I said, okay. About a week before that, I noticed, and I pulled the plug. And then they must have been doing stuff behind the scenes. And then all of a sudden, on January 10th, there was an announcement. So I looked into a little further, and the research I found is I'm just gonna not run shorts for a couple of weeks. I have some in there. The shorts don't count to time. So I just put them, I don't put them in the big playlist for the ones that are for time, like the watch please 1, 2, 3 I have. I don't put shorts in there because I don't want them to get mixed in. If somebody wants to watch my shorts, they just go over and it says, I think it's general YouTube shorts or Okies YouTube shorts or something. And it's just a bunch of shorts you can click on and it runs in probably an hour. But, because you know, they're 30-second videos. But I don't get any time for that. I don't get any, you know, you don't get any money for that. Yes, create. So that's, yes, Natty, yep. Oh, Without Borders. V Without Borders mentioned me yesterday. I'll have to go check that out. Thank you very much. V Without Borders is another good one to go watch. She does a lot of lives. And yes, Natty and Create, they said that they're good for driving videos your way. Yes, they are. Because they'll pick up the way it gets pushed, the way YouTube pushes the shorts, the vertical versus the horizontal. They push those harder. So you'll probably end up getting more views on a vertical. And if you attach it to one of your videos in the cards or whatever at the end of when you do your upload, you pick cards or whatever that other one was. I can't never remember the other one. And then it'll send them to another channel or another playlist or your other video. You can attach it to that. Or you can use it as like premieres for your long video coming out. You can make a long video, break out a couple shorts, play them a day or so, or a couple hours before, point them in that direction, you know, coming soon or whatever, boom. And then when it comes out, people are already know it's gonna be there. Pure Nature. Hey, Pure Nature, how you doing? Yeah, shorts, yeah. Now, like Carol has the hashtag microdwarf2526. I have done some shorts for that to get some content for them for that. And that worked out really well. I've gotten some subs from that. I have to go back and check to see how many, but I've gotten subscriptions. I've gotten some really good friends from that now that have come over from that. And I like Carol's great, Gail is great, Gail Southern Living, Broke but Bountifully Blessed. They're all really, really good. Then you set it to private, okay. But yeah, check out Broke but Bountifully Blessed. And then Carol, I'm sorry, that's Carol. And she's the one that sent me a bunch of seeds. So the tomato seeds you see me growing, those are from Carol, from Broke and Bountifully Blessed on the microdwarf. She also sent me the orange and red pepper plants I keep showing in my lives that are growing really well. Those are from her. I just don't remember which one's orange and which one's red until they grow because I didn't label them. The tomatoes, I've already harvested some of the tomatoes and then they kind of died off. But I have 2 more growing over here in the window, 2 more in the hydroponics in my laundry room that are solid. Oh, is foraging here? Yes, foraging urban farming, guess what? I have 2 turnips growing in my hydroponic unit. Believe it or not, I can't believe they popped. So their sprouts are about that high now. My only concern is they're in that pod. The pods are soft, so when I transplant them, I'm hoping that as the turnip, if it continues to grow, that it'll break out of that shell. So I'm gonna try to keep it moistened so it breaks easy. But I'm pretty sure the turnip will be able to push open. But I'm excited about that because I've never grown turnips. I've got them for my son, he grows them, but I've wanted to grow them. Sort the kids out, that's right. It's like herding cats. So yeah, yeah, that's what I'm interested in because that was my concern. I planted some of yours in the dirt and then I planted some in the, oh, Granny sent a gift. Thank you, Granny, I appreciate that. Wow, thank you, I appreciate that, Granny. I'm always, shocked that people do that, but I appreciate it. I guess it's part of becoming a YouTube sensation like we are. This whole group here, we're a force of YouTube nature. Wouldn't it be cool? We could all jam all of our views and our hours and everything together into one, and we'd have this one huge channel. Yes, Shelly, you're correct. If you want to see some shorts, go check out Shelly. Shelly Edwards is on here. Go check out her channel. She'll crack you up when she'll use whatever filters and stuff, and then she'll do these 30-second short videos. She also does cooking videos, and she's not afraid to fail at something. -2. Oh, no thank you. But she'll cook something and she'll tell you if she messes up, she messes up. You know, it's kind of like Grandma Teresa Gilmore. She did those, she took crescent rolls yesterday, and she opened them up. She had leftover chili, and she was like, I don't know if this is gonna work. And I respect channels like that. You know, you watch the professionals, you know, if you've ever seen behind the scenes, if you go behind the scenes, there's documentaries, you know, they'll have 4 or 5 dishes all prepared. So they pick the best looking one. And then they're like, oh yeah, this is how this came out. And it's like, no, it didn't. You dropped the first one. That's what I like about YouTube channels that are sincere. I've messed up, and I'll say, sometimes I'll put a note in there that I said asparagus and I meant green beans. You know, I'll have to correct it in the video because, and I'll put a, you know, face palm, because why are we trying to fool anybody? Everybody makes mistakes cooking. Professional chefs makes mistakes. Professional chefs cut their fingers when you talk to any of them, and off screen they'll tell you they cut themselves more than you think. You know, they see all that chop, 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 chop really quick. Yeah, well, let me tell you something. There's that morning when they're having a bad day and they're chop chopping, and next thing you know, they've skinned a little bit of their finger. So I've been there. But yes, it is. It's authentic cooking. Natty took me way back, because I believe I'm older than Natty and Jay, I think. But anyways, she was doing bologna. She bought bologna, and I love bologna. That's one of my favorite deli meats. I like, if you know about Bar S, you know about Bar S. If you know, you know. I like the Bar S hot dogs. I can get them for $1 a pack for 8 hot dogs. I eat them, and the reason I buy the Bar S for myself, my wife likes the all beef, whatever the name brand. Barbecue bologna, exactly. When I train our rescue dog, we've got her, if I do different training things with her, I was always taught years ago by a breeder that bred German Shepherds. He takes cheap hot dogs and he cuts them in coins, keeps them in a bag in his pocket when he's training, because he says they're the best training tool is hot dogs instead of, snacks, the dog snacks. So I've used those for years. So I get the Bar S. So if I'm gonna go out and work with my dog one day, just to train her to sit or lay down or to come or whatever to me, I'll cut up 20 pieces, have her sit there, I'll tell her to stay, and I'll keep saying it as I walk away, and she'll stay right there. And then as soon as I sit there, I'll say, come here, and then she'll run over. I give her a hot dog. I tell her to sit. As I walk away, I hold my hand out, stay. Just keep saying stay. I do that 20 times, and they'll have it right down. So if I leave, I can say at the door, stay. She'll just sit down and stay. And hot dogs are a great training tool. If you have dogs and you do any kind of dog training. Costco, yes, I've had Costco hot dogs, they're good. But anyway, she did fried bologna today. And I love fried bologna. When she started doing that, I put in there, just as she said, I didn't realize she was gonna fry the bologna. I thought she was just gonna make the sandwich. And I just started typing in, are you gonna fry it? And I just went to hit enter, and she starts throwing it in and I'd just hit enter, and I'm like, oh, son of a gun, now she's gonna think I'm stupid. Well, she probably already thinks I'm stupid. But she did fry it up, and I love fried bologna. Interesting fun fact from my childhood. I was in 2nd or 3rd grade, and my mom used to pack our lunches. If you were born and raised in the 60s and 70s, moms used Oh, no problem, JC. You had brown paper bags and you had wax paper because it was cheap. There was 9 of us. I remember my mom making our lunches at night before going to bed. And I still remember her, you'd hear her pull the wax paper, shear it off, you'd hear the zip when you rip it through the little saw, and she would rip that for all of our sandwiches. And then she was like a machine. Bread, this, whatever, bread, fold it, boom. She'd have our lunches made in 20 minutes. She'd put a piece of like maybe an apple in there or whatever. And that was our lunch. You didn't have, you know, juice boxes. You didn't have any of that. You drank out of the water fountain at school. And my mom usually made me either peanut butter, because I like just peanut butter, and she'd make me just a bologna sandwich with nothing on it. I liked a dry bologna sandwich. And we had the cubbies. So everybody would put their lunch bags up in these cubbies. And then at lunch, we'd eat in our room. Because it was a small school, you didn't have cafeterias and gymnasiums. You basically ate here and you played in the play yard. And I never forget, me and my friend went over, and I just happened to walk over and we're talking. We grabbed our bags, we sat down, I'm taking my sandwich out and he's taking his sandwich out. And I'm sitting there and I'm eating my sandwich. And I'm like, this is disgusting. What is this? What is mom giving me, you know? And I pull back the bread. It was a pimento loaf. So it had the red pimento pepper. It had olive loaf. It had olives in it. And I'm like, ooh, what is this? This is gross. Mom, why would you do this? At the same time, I'm looking at my sandwich. My friend is looking at his sandwich like, ooh, Mom, why are you giving me plain bologna? We both look at each other and he goes, which one do you have? And I looked at the bag and I'm like, so we just took our bags, we swapped, gave each other our sandwiches, and we just went to town on our sandwiches. And I remember going home and I'm like, hey Mom, you're not gonna believe this. Pimento loaf is gross. And now I love olives, and I love olive and pimento loaf. I'll eat that. I'll eat a whole package. But being a kid was fun, I'll tell you. Don't examine the sandwich. That's right. That's good advice right there. It was just so funny because we did it at the same time. We just did it at the same time. Yeah, I didn't like it as a kid, Coach. I do now. I like any vegetables, mostly fruits, anything. I love it. Pimento cheese is delicious. They do. You're correct, they do change. A lot of things that I didn't like as a kid, I do like now. Salami, yes, salami, yep. Hey, happy chickens, how you doing? But yeah, so let me show you guys this one more time. It's getting very dry quick. It dries pretty quick, but you can see how that one coat makes it even darker now. And you know what's interesting is I know that it's old wood, because anybody that has ever worked in a wood shop and you work with this new wood you buy from the store, you'll still get the pine scent, you'll get some sap smell, you'll get the scent. The old wood has been sitting in an attic or a basement for years, or it's been used for years, or it's been in a house where they smoke. I've had that before. And all those smells, aromas draw into the wood. And so for 50 years, it's just absorbing the smells of that house. And as soon as you cut into it with a router, or you saw it and you get the dust, it's a smell that I love. It's old wood, it's old, it smells like an attic, a basement, just smells that I always liked. And it's so much different than just a pine smell. It's just so hard to explain. It's like a car from the 60s. If you've driven cars from the 60s and 70s, they had a smell. They have a car smell. The new cars today have an entirely different smell. So if you get in a 60s car, even if it's been redone, it has that smell. If you know, you know. Or I could surf while eating a charcuterie board. Okay, let's do that. You know what I might do? I might take this, I'll put my Sasquatch shirt on, I'll put some shorts on, I'll enter those 3 photos into ChatGPT and ask them to put me in a photo on this as a surfboard with charcuterie foods and dipping sauces in it. I'm gonna do that. That's a great idea, foraging. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that as soon as I'm done here. I'm gonna put that all in, and I'll post it on a community post if I do it. And then I'll tag foraging and urban farming with it. That would be really cool. But anyways, everybody, I'm glad you were able to be here so you could see me, work on that piece of lumber. Tomorrow is my garden live. This will be sitting here drying. I'll be able to, tomorrow at 1, I'll come in and I'll just lightly sand it, wipe it down, and we'll put a second coat on it after the garden work. If it's warm enough to do garden work. If not, I got some planting and transplanting in here to do. We'll do that. And then talk about some YouTube stuff and just keep working together and growing this community. I hope everybody's having a good day off. If you have today off, I hope everybody's safe. I hope everybody's healing up and feeling better. Appreciate everybody for being here. Go to my community post if you don't mind. I was gonna come up with a nickname for them, but they're the 4 people that do food and drink reviews, like D reviews and things like that, and Terabytes and a few others. And I put them on to watch today. So I've been watching their stuff, and other people have mentioned that they are watching their stuff. Tomorrow I'm gonna just devote to Calf's Kitchen because Calf's is trying to get monetized. So I'm gonna put a post out there tonight about Calf's Kitchen, and hopefully we can get some support for her tomorrow and inch her closer and closer and closer to getting her monetized. And then as we roll through January, at the end of January, I'll do an announcement as to who got monetized in our community in the month of January. And I'll do that for each month. And then hopefully at the end of 2026, if God willing and the creeks don't rise and we're still here, I can do a end of year thing that says, hey, here's how many people from this community got monetized this year. I think that would be a great year end, and then move into the new year and do it all over again in 2027. Hope to see everybody tomorrow afternoon. Hopefully I can catch some lives tonight. I'll probably be with my grandson again tonight so I can watch people over there on 2 different IP addresses, and I'll be watching some people over there, and I'll message you if I'm watching I try to message you when I'm watching your stuff over at my son's. So everybody have a great finish to your day. Appreciate everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me do this. Have a wonderful day. Take care. See you in the next one.